So here we are. We've entered the tavern. We're ready to go. And so this is what you're going to see almost every single time that you open your Hearthstone game. You're going to see 1 to 3 daily quests. You can have a maximum of 3. Why it's important to do these quests is they're going to give you coins that you can buy packs with, or other items like enter the arena or do other things with them. But primarily I use them for purchasing packs. Every single day you're going to get a new quest. So you can complete all 3 and you'll only get 1 the following, or you can do them every 2 to 3 days and they'll just accumulate and go. You will have the option to send a quest back, if you will. You can only do that once daily. As you complete the single player mode initially, you're going to unlock basic decks for the different classes. As you see here, I have a basic mage deck, a basic shaman deck. Hunter and rogue I adjusted for challenges that were quests. So that's kind of how you'll get there. Now, if you look down here, you're going to see Custom Rogue or Tempo Demon Hunter, Tempo Demon Hunter 2, Galakron Lock. These are decks that I have created, if you will, to play into the game. Now, I don't go through my cards and create my own decks and select them. What I do is I go onto Google, and this is a great starting point for you guys. Because you're not going to have a ton of coins and you're not going to have a ton of dust to create your cards, we'll get into that in a minute. You're going to want to Google budget Hearthstone, the month and the year. So right now it's May. We would search budget Hearthstone mage decks, and we want to make sure that it's in the current season. You don't want to get a deck that was a budget deck that was a year ago, because then you're going to be creating cards and moving in a direction that is obsolete. The budget decks are going to be decks that are going to allow you to play and, in my opinion, be semi-competitive, but there are going to be some decks that you're just never going to be able to beat because you don't have those high-value kickers, if you will, that can really change that deck around. But it's a very good starting point. So my first piece of advice, after you've made it through the initial starting quest or the initial starting playthrough, is to search budget Hearthstone decks and find a deck that you like. You may say, well, how do I know which class to play? Good question. You're going to want to play a lot of the different classes so you get an idea of what you like and what you don't like. For instance, when I first started playing, it'll take you through the mage deck. So I kind of stuck with mage for a little bit. But then I started to branch out. I tried paladin, I tried shaman a little bit, but then I fell onto a priest deck. I fell in love with the way that the priest deck was playing. I found ways to make it work. I started off with a budget deck. I played the game for a few months. I got enough dust. I opened enough packs. And then I graduated into a higher tier deck that was a little bit more competitive than what I was currently playing with. So I was able to kind of start, go in the middle, and then be semi-competitive. I mean, I still make mistakes on playing my cards. Still do it now. But that's how I ended up with Priest. When Demon Hunters were released recently, I just wanted to jump in 2 feet, try something brand new. And I kind of love the way that the cards played and the decks play. So that's where I'm at now. My Priest deck, it became a wild deck because a lot of the cards weren't available anymore. They got retired, they got swapped. So it just kind of made sense as a natural transition to go into Demon Hunter. But I guess everybody else played that too. Maybe they all had Priest decks. Who knows? So what I've done is I just Googled budget Hearthstone decks 2020. And I'm going to select this Murloc Paladin. Now I'm selecting it on another screen, but when you pull it up, you're going to be able to tell exactly what we're talking about. Now there's going to be something that's going to be on that page that's going to say deck import, and it should be a copy deck code. You're going to want to click that. With Hearthstone open, you then go into my collection, and then what you're going to do is it's going to simply ask you, do you want to create a deck with what's in your clipboard? Here we go. Would you like to create a new deck with the deck that's in your clipboard? Well, yes, I would. So all that information is going to pull over and it's going to import for you. You knew that it was a Paladin deck because that's what you selected. So it's going to automatically pre-fill. If you look here, you will see cards that are colored in. I have those cards. I own those cards. You're going to see cards that are grayed out. Those are cards that I do not have. If you look towards the bottom, this deck is 21 out of 30. So I need 9 more cards in order to make this deck playable on the ladder. 2 options you can take. You can simply replace these cards with cards that you already have, with similar mana stone costs, or you can craft those cards with the dust that's available. You look down here in the bottom, you're going to see arcane dust. You obtain arcane dust through different ways of disenchanting cards. So basically, if you know that you don't like a card, you're never going to play that, or maybe it's just not something you're interested in, you can disenchant that card and you will get dust value for that, so that way you can create the card that you're looking for. What I always look for when creating these decks and the cards that I don't have, I look to see if I'm missing any legendaries. You'll be able to tell if you have a legendary if in this side of it there's a star. In this deck, it does not appear as if I'm missing any legendaries. So let's click the Horde Pillager. I need, in order to craft this card, 20 dust. So if I own this card, I could choose to disenchant it here and it would give me 100 dust, but it's only 20 dust to make. So you can't just keep blowing cards up and making new ones. There's a little bit of a risk reward that's involved with it. So you have to make sure that you're picking the deck and the cards that you want, but that's how you would craft that card, is by doing that if you don't open it from the pack. Well, which pack do I buy? How do I know? Great question. You'll see right here that this card came from the Descent of Dragons expansion pack. So if I want a chance at getting this card, I should be opening Descent of Dragon packs. There's a little bit of a debate whether or not you should just open the packs to try and get the card, or if you should only be opening the most recent pack. I don't know if there's a right or a wrong. I currently only buy the current expansion packs, and then I just try to craft these cards, because the way that I think about it is, if this is the new expansion and this one is here in terms of a couple expansions prior, well, if I open as many packs as I can while I'm playing, when this expansion pack here then goes to this notch, to this notch, to this notch, I should have already have gotten all of the cards that may be of value later on down the road when the meta changes. It's entirely up to you. You can choose how to do that you want. My personal opinion, load heavy on current expansion packs, so that way when they do slide down the list, you will already have an abundance of cards available to you. Before we jump back in, I wanted to touch on a couple of different things. We're looking right now at a Paladin deck. This is going to apply for any type of deck that you have. The basics of understanding the card. You will see right here, the Imprisoned Sungill. There's a number in the top left. There's a number in the bottom left. There's a number in the bottom right. There's a picture in the middle. There's a little glowy stone that's in the... What does all this mean? Great question. This right here, the number in your top left is your mana stone. That's how many mana stones you must have to play that card. So you can have a maximum of 10. The way that it works, you start off, you're going to get 1. The next turn you'll get 2, 3, all the way to 10. But what if I use my mana stones? Do they come back the next turn? Absolutely. So in this instance, if I have 1 mana stone in my hand and I play this card, I'll then have 0 and I can't do anything. The next turn, I'm going to have 2 mana stones, so I'm already going to be good to go for whatever the next cards may be. In the bottom left, you're going to see what that card can attack with. So this card, when I attack with it, it's going to do 2 damage to either a minion or to the hero's face. But it only has 1 health. So what if a minion attacks a minion that has attack? Good question. Let's turn some pages here in the deck so we can see a little bit more of what that looks like. So the Bronze Herald, if I've played that and I'm ready to attack with it, and I attack the Shot Bot, which has 2 attack, 2 health, would we kill it? Yes. There is 3 attack that would take this out, so then it would go to 0. But on the flip side, when I attack it, it also takes damage, so this 2 would cancel that 2 out, and then both cards would be gone, right? Kind of. This card right here has a certain ability known as Reborn. So you basically have to kill this card twice. So whenever there are cards that have Reborn, they'll have a light blue aura that'll go over top of them, so you'll know that they're going to come back. So why would you take the card out if it's going to come back? Well, you don't want it to sit there and just beat on you. Eventually, the cards or the minions will either kill themselves, or they may start coming for your hero and cause more damage that way. Other cards to look out for are battle cries and death rattles. What's a battle cry? A battle cry, when you play this card, an action will happen. The action will differ based on the card and the description. This one, when I play this card, the battle cry, I can change an enemy minion's attack to 1. Using those same cards, if I play the Peacekeeper and you have the Bronze Herald down, I can change his attack to 1. So if I attack him, I'm still going to have 2 health left. It's a pretty good card to play when there's a really big card that's on the board. The other thing to look for is a death rattle. Well, what's a death rattle? Well, death rattle, when that card when it dies, it'll trigger something. So this one has give a death rattle to a minion. But let's find a different death rattle. I'm going to flip through here really quick. Death rattle. If you're holding a dragon, deal 3 damage to all enemy minions. So if I have the Chrono Breaker that's on the board and another dragon card that's in my hand, as soon as you kill him, every minion that's on the board of yours is going to take 3 damage. How do I know if I have a dragon in my hand? It's a great question. On the bottom of your card, you're going to see it says dragon. But if you look on the bottom of this one, it doesn't say anything. So what does that mean? It means it's not a dragon. Could be a spell. Could be just a regular minion. If you're looking for Murlocs and you need to have a Murloc in your hand, it'll specifically say Murloc. If you need to play a pirate, look, this card, it's a pirate. There are different things that you'll want to look for to ensure that you're playing the right cards at the right time. Well, what about the stone in the middle? Good question. The stone in the middle, basically, is going to determine if the card is basic, epic, legendary. The card isn't going to change its attack value or power based on that stone. But the rarity of the card and how good that card is, that's where it's going to depend. So if you think about it, if you have a legendary card, it's probably going to be a pretty good card, and it's probably not going to be a 1 mana stone card, 1 attack, 1 health. It's going to be something different. But that's also going to be an indicator that a legendary card is also going to cost more dust to make. So those are some of the things to look out for on the basics of your turn. The other things that you're going to want to think about or learn when you're playing is the taunt mechanism. Certain decks are going to be taunt heavy. Well, what's a taunt? A taunt is exactly what it says it is. You are being taunted to attack it. You have to attack that card before you attack anything else. The outlier, spell damages can go around it, or there are different mechanisms on your cards that may be able to negate that taunt. Maybe it's a silence, or maybe it's make it go dormant. There are different things that you can do. But if there's a taunt minion that's out there, you're going to have to attack it before you do anything else that's on the board. It may be a good idea to take the taunt minion out before you start playing some high value cards. But it's all going to be based on how your deck is built. The other thing are lifesteal. For instance, a hunter can't heal itself with its hero power, but a priest can. But they both can play lifesteal cards. If you play a lifesteal card, when it attacks, it's going to return health back, or when it takes damage rather, it's going to return health back to your hero. So if you play a class that you can't heal, lifesteal is a way that you can get your health to go back up. There are a couple of other nuances that you'll notice when you go into the game, but those are going to be a little bit more advanced. But these are the basics that you're going to have to deal with. Battle cries, death rattles, taunts, and some of the other stuff that you'll look at, they're going to be more advanced. But remember, top left is your mana stone that you have in order to play it, and then of course its attack and its health. Remember also, when you play a card, you don't get to attack with it right away. You have to wait a turn before it's eligible to attack. So by putting cards on the board, you're loading your next turn up to do something perhaps really detrimental to the other party. Congratulations! You made it this far. You are now ready to play Hearthstone. This is a very basic overview. It's by no means an all-inclusive map to get you to be an elite level player, but this is at least going to allow you to understand the numbers on the cards, how to play certain cards, and how to even build a deck that you can be semi-competitive with. There's definitely a lot more that we'll have to get into. Come join us in the Twitch channel. It's in the comment section below. It's scrolling across the bottom of your screen. I stream it 2 to 3 times a week. Would love to see you in there. And more importantly, would love to see you in the tavern. We'll see you guys on the next one.